Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Alexander Howell, and I produced a video on my channel about a city I love that I purchased a home in called Merida, Mexico. And it talked about the 5 reasons that you should never visit Merida. And I made it kind of satirically, but it got taken very serious. And I know that because at time of recording, and today is March 23rd, 2021, and that video has 200 likes and 72 dislikes. So I know that some people either didn't watch the video, didn't pay attention to it, or they just took umbrance with what I said. But I want to go over it, go through it, and this might be a bit ridiculous, but just go through the whole video, kind of explain what we're talking about, and then at the end of it, you think, why is he making this? That's fine. But if at the end of it you kind of understand what I'm talking about, I hope that's what it is. So my name is Alexander Howell. Please feel free to follow me at these social media links. Normally you can follow me at Alexander from KC. Feel free to text me directly at 816-727-7740 or visit my website, alexanderhowell.com. That's the easiest way to contact me. But we're going to go over my least liked video, the one that people felt so heinous that they would dislike 72 times. And that's just as of today, which is, let's see, 5 reasons to never visit Merida, Mexico. And this is going to be the video that refutes that just a bit. Hope you enjoy. All right, so as we go through, what I'm going to do is transition from here and then immediately jump into a window following it, and you're going to kind of be able to hear my thoughts on the thing, and hopefully you'll be able to see exactly what's going on in the video. So if that made sense, let's keep going. All right, so here we go. This is the yeah, as you can tell, right down here, 200 likes. 72 dislikes, but 6,300 views of this. This is a video that unfortunately is looked at as probably the most toxic and negative comments about this video than any other video that I've had. And I think as we go through it, you'll see what I was trying to prove. Now, one of the comments that is completely legitimate is that just as this video is going so far, it took me forever to get to the point. So fast forward a little bit if you want to, but we're just going to hit it straight here. And welcome to the situation we have going on. Okay, so what this guy's about to say, future Alex is going to say really easily all the stuff about following me on social media, as we've already talked about, and liking and subscribing to this video and hitting the little notification bell if you want to be notified anytime one of these videos goes live or I go live on streaming. So please feel free to follow that, but we're just going to skip a little bit ahead because, as many of you have noted, I'm slow at that. Here we go. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of explaining in several videos about why you should want to travel to Merida. It's an amazing place, colonial town. It has fantastic parks, beaches nearby, cenotes all around that might have been built or created because of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. They're still there for us to enjoy. So let's move past that. But I'm going to give you 5 reasons, hilariously, hopefully, why you should not travel to Merida, which is going to be painful because I really want you to. So let's dive into this. So number 1 is the exact reason that pretty much everybody probably clicked on this video, and that is it's hot. It's just so it's hot. It's hot. It's caliente. It's very hot. That's all he's trying to say. So hot. If you look up the weather right now in Kansas City, Missouri, which is just out of my back window. I live in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is a suburb. But if you go 60 feet that way, it's Kansas City, Missouri. Look up the weather in Kansas City, Missouri today, a few days before Thanksgiving, 2020. 42 degrees, raining, terrible, awful. It was gray skies. It might as well have been night in the middle of the day. That's the weather here. In Merida, it got to -15 and Texas froze over. Just throwing that out there real quick. Sunshine, beautiful, 91 degrees outside, and that is in November. May, June, July, you're going to roast. It's hot. Just get used to it. If you're a snowbird, it's going to work out perfect. You're kind of the opposite of a snowbird. You're going to go down there and enjoy the heat during the winter, and then you're going to come back. But if you live down there full time, just wear shorts, get some tank tops, sandals. It's very, very hot. It's wonderful. And the closer you get to the beach, if you're in Progreso, Tachak Puerto, Chalem, Chicxulub, all those areas, you're going to love it. You're going to get a nice breeze from the north, from the Gulf of Mexico. Wonderful. If you're in Merida, it's a lot of concrete and sun. It's very hot. It's odd that that's the number one reason, but that's why you shouldn't visit. If you're not used to hot, I don't know what else to say.
Okay, so I have to agree with myself there. When we were on the beach, the first day that we were there, we literally had to shut every window and every door because the velocity of the wind was coming so fast off of the Gulf of Mexico that it was coming through one door and it was cooling down the entire house. So there are times when you're on the beach where it's very nice, very cool, but there were also times where the wind stopped and it was awful and hot, just the same as it was in Merida. But just to let you know, when it comes to like cool air, Medita, never have experienced it. On the beach, several times a week. Take that as you will. Let's continue.
All right, so number 2 is bugs. Bugs are bad. They're just bad. I had a bug that was about that big.
I was not being crazy about this. That bug could have defeated me in battle. Just throwing that out there.
But if you see my face, there's a very big bug, and I smashed it with my sandal, and it freaked me out. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to sleep again. But that was one time in a month that we were there. We run into everything up here as well. I see all kinds of things in Kansas City that are terrifying. You just kind of have to get used to it. But the bugs down there are big and terrifying. And I had to kind of come to terms with that. And if it's okay with you, then you're going to get used to it too. Maybe. But the other thing that I've heard, and I was not down there to experience this, but apparently at certain times of the year, you're going to get mosquitoes as well. And it's just something to think about. So definitely carry off with DEET, all that kind of stuff. Any type of bug repellent. Just know that if you're hanging out in Merida, bugs. Okay, that's the only thing that actually freaked me out. All of the other things on this list were good to go. Bugs were the thing. Okay, let's move on to.
Let's not move on. So mosquitoes can carry Zika, and we all know what that entails, and that could be and potentially could be awful. There were bugs that I hit as hard as I could. I am a 5'11", 200-pound male that works out all the time. I couldn't kill these things on the beach and within the city. So I'm just saying, I understand that people were upset about the video. The bugs should not be the reason. All right, let's move on.
Number 3. All right, number 3 is probably something that you're used to depending on where you're from. Again, in Kansas City, I get made fun of for this because we have traffic in the morning, we have traffic in the evening, but we don't have constant traffic. We're not LA at the 405, we're not New York, we're not Boston, we're not Miami. We just have traffic a couple of times a day and that's it. But traffic in Merida is an experience all its own. So number 3 is traffic. You're going to run into traffic that will frustrate you to no end, between people missing lights, just crowded streets. Again, I think I've told you guys this a couple of times on some different videos that I've had on this channel. The streets are narrow. The sidewalks are narrow. Turns are sometimes difficult. This was a colonial town and they have built within those parameters. So when you talk about traffic, it's not necessarily that there are more cars than anything that you've ever experienced in your life. It's that the streets are what they are. And the
Okay, I'm going to stop this right here because one thing that I do want to say is, so we've traveled, and my wife and I have traveled in so many different cities that it kind of gets confusing. But there are cities that are grid patterns, and if you think about grid pattern, it's basically north, south, like just everything is at a complete 90-degree angle. We've gone and traveled in Florence where it looked like the Italian Job, just going through every city square and center and tried to be as fast as we could, and it seemed ridiculous. Merida is a much slower paced bit of traffic, so it just takes a long time, and it does feel like people kind of go in and out without care to the other person. That doesn't mean they don't care about the other person. That just means that that's the way traffic works in that area. However, one thing that I did not really talk about in this video is that if you get the right streets, it's much easier to get in and out. And one of the best streets that we discovered, which is dumb at this point because I've talked about it on so many videos, is Paseo De Mateo. It is a very well done street, and you can get in and out very quickly. There are roads in and around out streets that you can go and kind of get between all different areas. You just have to be there to understand it. I didn't think about it during this video. I didn't talk about it during this video. But the next time that we went down, which was after I recorded this video, actually almost literally a month after, literally a month after I recorded this video, I realized that the street patterns worked out very well if you knew exactly how to get in and out of roadways. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. It's not as bad as you think. You just have to know the back roads. I mean, I'm from Kansas City. I'm from a rural area for the most part. If you know the back roads, even in the city center, you're good to go. So I hope that makes sense. Also, I hope you all appreciate how awful I made myself look on this clip. I'm just throwing it out there. I realize I just spoke forever and I looked like I just enjoyed the devil's lettuce. So let's keep going. Jesus. The only time that I've ever experienced something like this was I should make a video about this experience all on its own.
This is it.
But my family, being my wife, my in-laws, and my parents all went to Italy for 10 days.
Forgot I talked about it.
Areas. But when we went to Florence, we had rental cars that we were trying to return. And it was like the Italian Job getting through these little streets and these little bitty cars. That's what it felt like getting through Merida anytime that we were in Merida. It was just little cars on little streets going around. So get used to it. Be patient. Be calm. Everybody there's chill. I assume for the most part. I'm sure there are people like me that get frustrated. But just woo-saw your way out of it. Relax. Know the number 3, one of the biggest issues, traffic is fun. All right, number 4. I talked about this in other videos as well, but I just want to reiterate it because I think it's a very important thing to recognize when you're talking about visiting a colonial town like Merida. This is not Cancun. This is not Puerto Vallarta. This is not Cozumel. This is not Playa del Carmen. And I mean this in like it's a negative in the way that I always feel like I have to explain this a little bit too far, but I want people to understand. I want all of you to understand. When you go to Merida, you are not experiencing a town that is built around tourism. So there is not a population that is bilingual or trilingual like.
Okay, so I want to hit this really, really well and talk about it honestly. So I have had several people in the comment section of my YouTube videos that have said that, you know, if you look at the numbers, Medita is far more visited than Cancun and Puerto Vallarta. I was never disputing that in this video, and that was not the intention of what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say was that when you are in the United States or when you're in Canada, Cancun is without question looked at as more of a tourist destination. Not that there are more people visiting there, but that when you think about tourism, you think Cancun as opposed to Merida. You think Puerto Vallarta before Merida. It may be more visited, but those two towns are without question, along with Cozumel, Las Mujeres, and Playa del Carmen, they're looked at as more of the traditional tourist towns.
that wasn't a negative. That wasn't a hit on Merida. It was actually a positive in the sense that when you look at Merida, it's a wonderful place to visit. It's a wonderful city and town, but there is so much history there. It's not looked at as Cancun that had an airport built there in the 1980s, and all of a sudden people started visiting there. So when you hear my comments from the past in this video, please don't take them as, hey, look at the numbers, Merida has more visitors. That's not what I mean. Think of it as a 34-year-old guy that was brought up in the MTV era and saw all of these spring break parties in Cancun. Do you get it? I hope we get it. All right, let's move on.
Like you may have experienced in the past. If you go to Cancun, pretty much everybody speaks English that is client-facing.
Also
same
that.
With Puerto Vallarta, same with Cozumel, same with Playa del Carmen. That's not Merida. You are going to run into places where if you only speak English, they will only speak Spanish, and you're going to have to figure your way around that. To me, that's a positive. I mean, that means that this city, this beautiful city, is keeping to its own heritage, and I absolutely love it. But it's something that you need to understand. So either have Google Translate on your phone ready to go, have somebody that speaks Spanish fluently, or as I am trying to do, try to learn to speak Spanish before you go down. It's one of the most beautiful things about Merida. And if you're not ready for it, it can also be one of the most frustrating things. So number 4 is that you're not in a situation where everybody speaks fluent English, like you may be used to traveling to other parts of Mexico. But again, as I will continuously say and always say on this channel, that's also your responsibility and something that we should all understand. So number 4.
Okay. Can we stop? First of all, let's enjoy the fact that I keep pausing on the exact moment that I look the worst. But that's what I mean. One of the best one of the most frustrating things about Merida is that there's not English everywhere, but that's the most beautiful thing about it. It's that this is a city that you must welcome yourself into. So enjoy that face that I'm making, first of all. But second of all, that's all I meant. All right, let's get that face out of the way.
A negative is that you may not be as comfortable as you have been in other cities in Mexico. On the positive side, it's pretty awesome too.
There you go.
All right, and the number 5 reason that you should not visit Merida is the reason that you should visit one of the beach towns, and that's that Merida is an inland colonial town. It's an inland colonial city of 1 million people, but it's not on the beach. The beach is half an hour away on a very nice road that goes right to several beach towns. But if you're thinking about visiting Merida and you're thinking, I'm going to take my vacation, I'm going to visit Merida, and that way I can look at the ocean, that's not what you're going to get. But you can go to Progreso or any of the other cities that I've talked about or townships that I've talked about that are on the beach, 30 minutes away, 40 minutes away, and see the beach. But one thing that is a negative about Merida, and this mostly has to do with number 1, where it's hot as, is it's very much not a beach town. It's a colonial city. It's a lot of concrete. It's a lot of streets. It's a big highway. It's all of those things. But you're not going to go to Merida just to sit on the beach.
All right, let's hit one thing real quick, and it might be the same thing that I hit on later, as has happened throughout this entire video. Okay, so you're going to immediately go north to Progreso, and then you'll hit Chelem, Chuberna. You go all the way to Telchac Puerto, Guaymatún, where we stayed, Chicxulub, which is where the crater was that killed the dinosaurs that we talked about earlier. But those are some of the places that you can visit that are still amazing beach towns. But yes, again, what this guy and the wonderful light blue shirt is saying is correct. Merida, not a beach town. Okay, I'll just let myself continue on. Sorry. Just wanted to interrupt and give you some information.
In Cancun, you can do that. I mean, anybody who's been to Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, the giant miles-long beaches around the area where the hotels are just sitting there and they're all-inclusive.
and you can put in your swim trunks and you go to the beach. That's not Merida. And that's the negative, if you could ever call it one. I personally love it. I love the fact that you can travel a few minutes and you're there, but that's not what it is. So those are the 5 reasons that you shouldn't visit Merida. It's hot. There are bugs. It's not by the beach. A couple other things. Those are the only 5 things I could ever come up with. And that's it. That's seriously it. Those are the only 5 things I could think like, oh, well, this is the reason that you wouldn't want to visit Merida. There you go. Well, thank you so much for watching the video.
So the reason that I wanted to go through that video again was because there are so many people that watch this video, and I can tell just with their comment that they don't watch it the entire way through. And there's a lot of vitriol and a lot of negativity that I can just be honest was not the point of the video. I just wanted to say that here's some things you might want to think about. There's a little satirical nature there. There was some honesty with the bugs and the heat. So that's where we are. But I felt also really bad that I may have made Medita look negative in any way, shape, or form, and that's not the way that I view it. We bought a house there. We want to retire there. We want to move there right now if we can, but the last thing that I want to do is make it look negative. So again, I hope you understand the point of this video, kind of going back to another one that I produced. But my name is Alexander Howell. Please feel free to visit me at Alexander from KC on any of these social media platforms, including the one where you can text me directly at 816-727-7740. You can also visit my website, alexanderhowell.com. And if you enjoyed this video and enjoyed my making excuses, I guess, for myself, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. That will let you know anytime that one of these videos goes live. And as always, and appreciatively, peace.